After 10 years of mystery, a cleaning lady revealed the incredible secret of an Arabian investor. Gloria wiped her brow as the sun streamed into the lavish living room, filtering through the golden curtains of Farid's South Grand estate. Dust danced in the light, each speck a reminder of her hard work. For over a decade, she had scrubbed, polished, and organized this mansion overflowing with emerald and ruby accents that whispered stories of wealth. A single mother battling the shadows of loss, she carried the weight of her family's future on her shoulders. After losing her husband, a beloved local veteran, Gloria had transformed her pain into relentless determination. Every stroke of her mop, every flick of her duster was a love letter to her children, ensuring they were shielded from the cruel hand of fate. But today, as she silently tidied the plush sofa, a strange electric tension hovered in the air. Soft murmurs drifted from the study, where Farid often met with those who whispered about him behind closed doors. "His investments are failing," one voice hissed. "What is he hiding?" Another added, filled with resentment. Gloria froze, her heart pounding. Could his troubles affect her family? The thought churned in her stomach like a storm. This estate, this fortress of luxury, felt more like a ticking time bomb. In the local diner later, the conversations echoed her fears. The regulars clinked their mugs, their eyes narrowed with suspicion. "Farid's a ghost. You see him in town?" "Nope. Cares more for his money than us," a man grumbled. Gloria's chest tightened at their indignation. She could see the fire in their eyes, a fire she respected but feared. She couldn't afford to be swept away by the tide of popular opinion. With a pounding heart, she resolved to uncover the truth about Farid. She went back to the estate, digging deep into the heart of Farid's motivations. Listening carefully, she pieced together the story of an immigrant striving to succeed against a backdrop of prejudice and misunderstanding. Could she, a woman who felt the sting of judgment herself, connect with him? The weight of their shared struggles stirred something fierce in Gloria. This wasn't just about surviving for her kids anymore, it was about understanding the man behind the walls, the man everyone feared. Then came the town hall meeting. Gloria sat beside the anxious crowd, all eyes locked on Farid, who appeared detached. The air thickened with tension. As grievances spilled forth, she felt her insides twist. It was time. Enough. Gloria stood, her voice quaking yet resolute. Gasps rippled through the room, eyes widening in surprise. "We're quick to judge, quick to point fingers. But what if we stopped? What if we listened?" The silence was palpable, hearts pounding in earnest anticipation, and just like that, the moment hung suspended, charged with a blend of hope and despair. Would Farid understand? Could he bridge the divide that felt too vast? The thoughts hung heavy in the room, a delicate web of concern, longing, and fragile dreams. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Through this charged silence, Gloria realized the truth: her struggles intertwined with Farid's. She wasn't just a cleaning lady, she was the heart of her community, ready to fight for understanding. Would she stand tall against prejudice, or would the shadows consume her? The answer, hanging in the air, urged her forward. The tension was electric, sparking in the air like a live wire. Gloria held her breath, searching Farid's face for any signs that her plea had pierced through his armor of silence. His eyes, dark and inscrutable, flickered with something. Was it surprise, or perhaps an acknowledgement of the weight of her words? Slowly, almost painfully, Farid shifted in his seat. The murmur subsided, replaced by a heavy stillness, as if the crowd was collectively inhaling, awaiting his response with bated breath. His voice was low, gravelly, and filled with an unexpected vulnerability. I never wanted to hide. But when you're faced with so much judgment, the walls feel like the only safe place. Gloria's heart raced. Wasn't that what she had felt since the world turned upside down when she lost Patrick? The isolation, the fear of letting others see her pain? Encouraged by the flicker of resonance she felt, she took a step closer. We all have stories, Farid. We might not understand them, but we can start to listen. If we choose to see one another, maybe she hesitated, the weight of her children's future tugging at her again. Maybe we can build something better. The energy in the room shifted. People exchanged glances, their expressions softening. It was as if the dam of resentment had begun to crack, revealing an undercurrent of vulnerability. Even those who had been most vocal in their disdain seemed caught off guard by the raw honesty floating between Gloria and Farid. Farid's shoulders relaxed just a fraction, a small but significant change. I thought this was what I had to do to survive. To prove myself. But what does all this mean if I lose the trust of my community? His voice softened, almost breaking. The businessman, the faceless mogul they had all criticized, was peeling back his layers. In the back, someone broke the silence. Maybe we need to hear your story, Farid. It was an unexpected allyship from a local shopkeeper. Show us you're more than what we think you are. The crowd, once so distrustful, began to murmur in agreement. Hope was stirring, like a fragile seed sprouting after a long winter. Each word built bridges where walls had stood tall for years. Gloria felt her own heart swell as she reached for a flicker of courage inside her. What if we could hold a town forum? Not just a meeting to air grievances, but a real opportunity to share our stories? The murmurs turned into nods, forming a growing rhythm of support. We could gather in the park, another voiced, rekindling an old tradition. Everybody's invited. No judgments. A sigh of relief washed over Gloria. This was the moment when divisions might finally begin to crumble. She caught Farid's eye, feeling an unspoken bond forming, a shared commitment to something bigger than them both. Yet, as the crowd continued to rally behind the idea, a shadow flickered across Farid's face. Could he truly break free from the ghosts that haunted him? As they began to arrange the first steps toward the forum, Gloria's thoughts spiraled. What if this was just the beginning? What if their stories intertwined, leading to something more significant than either had imagined? But just then, the room erupted as an unexpected figure stepped forward, a face from the past Gloria had hoped never to see again. With eyes full of confrontation, the figure spoke. Well, looks like you're all getting cozy. But how can you trust a man who stands to gain from your trust? The crowd froze, the air thick with tension and doubt once more. As Gloria's heart sank, the momentum they had built hung precariously. Would this reawakening of community spirit fall apart before it even began? Her hands trembled slightly, but she took a deep breath. The fight was far from over. Would she step in, rallying the crowd back to hope, or would doubt take root in their hearts once more? Who do you think you are? Gloria's voice rang out, sharper than she intended. She turned to face the intruder, her heart pounding in her chest. The crowd still hung in the balance, held captive by the tension in the air. You can't come in here and try to tear us apart, not now. The figure smirked, arms crossed defiantly. Oh, I'm just the voice of reason here. You think all the hurt will disappear with a few nice words? He's been hiding behind his money while we do the hard work. The crowd shifted uneasily, the words igniting old wounds. Gloria felt her stomach clench. We're not hiding, we're healing, she shot back, her voice steadying. We invite Farid to share his story, and instead, you want to box him in with your doubts? Stories don't change reality, the figure countered, his tone dripping with skepticism. They're just a way to distract you from the truth. Have you ever thought that maybe, just maybe, there's more to someone than what we perceive? Gloria pressed, feeling a surge of energy from the people around her, their eyes darting between her and the antagonist. I know what it's like to be judged, to feel cast out. Last year, I lost everything. My family, my sense of self. I understand the darkness of feeling alone. Someone from the back shouted, "She's right. We can't let fear keep us from connecting." Encouraged, Gloria turned back to Farid. "These people don't know your pain, Farid. They just see the man with wealth." Her voice softened. "But we can change that. Let us open the door to understanding." Farid took a breath, the weight of Gloria's words pulling him. He began hesitantly. I'm just a man trying to make decisions in a world that doesn't understand me." His voice was thick, swallowing back emotions that threatened to spill over. "What if my mistakes have cost others? How can I ever earn your trust?" A brave voice from the crowd, an older woman with silver hair and a wrinkled face, spoke up. "By sharing who you really are, Farid. No more walls. Just the truth." The crowd began to murmur again, resonating with her words. They were tired of hiding. Tired of secrets. They wanted connection. Gloria felt a swell of hope. "We need to come together. It won't be perfect, but this forum can be our first step." She looked at Farid, imploring him with her gaze. "What do you say?" With a trembling hand, Farid finally nodded. "I will share my story," he said, eyes bright with a mix of fear and resolution. "If you promise to listen." The crowd erupted in applause, a wave of approval washing over them. Hope ignited, and even the earlier dissenter seemed to shrink under the weight of the collective love radiating from the crowd, but before the cheers could settle, the figure stepped back, eyes narrowed. "You really think he'll bare his soul? He's still just a businessman. And you're all fools for believing in him." Gloria's heart plummeted. Had they just opened a floodgate to vulnerability only to be met with doubt again? Farid's face fell under the weight of that remark. Change is possible, but it's fragile, Gloria thought, feeling the warmth of the crowd's support slowly ebbing. What would happen when Farid spoke? Would there be enough strength in their newfound unity to withstand the storm brewing around them? As the crowd settled into a wary anticipation, Gloria sensed they stood on the precipice of something. A moment of truth loomed ahead, but at what cost? And so she held her breath, steeling herself for what was to come. Would the truth they all so desperately needed break them, or bind them tighter? Farid's heart raced in his chest. The crowd was uniform in its uncertainty. He felt it every anxious breath drawn in anticipation. They were here, silent, as if the world had paused just for him. He could see Gloria's eyes, filled with unwavering encouragement, but nearby, that haunting voice echoed in the corners of his mind. "Fools for believing," it taunted. Taking a half-step forward, Farid glanced at the faces surrounding him. Some were familiar, having shared brunches, awkward small talk, and fleeting smiles. Others were strangers, judging eyes waiting for anything to prove the naysayer right. He opened his mouth, but words caught in his throat. "Go on," someone urged, breaking the silence, and that crack in the tension spurred him on. "I don't," he stammered, then paused, gathering courage from memories of his past. "I don't expect you to feel sympathy for me, but my journey is real. I'm no different from any of you, except for the failures I refuse to acknowledge." A ripple of understanding spread through the crowd. They leaned in, straining to hear every syllable, every heavy pause. 10 years ago," he continued, "I lost everything after a business deal went wrong. It wasn't just money, it was trust, friendships, families torn apart. I wanted to change the world, but in my ambition, I forgot the people behind the numbers." He stopped, glancing at a woman in the front row. A memory of her husband, who had lost his livelihood due to his mistakes, flashed in his mind. He swallowed hard. "I went into hiding not just from the community but from myself. I thought money could insulate me, protect me from the pain I caused others. Instead, I found loneliness. I walked into rooms full of people but felt invisible. I lost my way. A murmur of compassion rippled through the gathering. Gloria's heart thudded. Maybe he was getting through. Maybe hope was finding its way into the cracks of their skepticism. Then, the figure from earlier scoffed, "What's your excuse for not making amends?" Farid's eyes darkened. "Because it was easier to build walls than face the mess I'd created. But now, I'm here, ready to break them down. I realize I can only reclaim my life by facing those I hurt." The crowd gasped, the shift palpable. Gloria seized the moment. "And we're here to listen. Isn't that worth something?" "Yes." Another voice called out, louder this time, a wave of agreement. Farid nodded, heart pounding. "I want to share my plans to give back, to restore what I took away. I want transformation, not just for myself but for all of us. We can heal together, over the ruins I left behind." The atmosphere shifted, the previous doubt turning into cautious hope. But, in the back, the figure shook his head, arms crossed. "You think that's enough? Vulnerability won't ease the pain." Farid's resolve sharpened. "I don't expect to erase the past, but I know now it's worth trying. I want to listen to your stories, to reconcile the hurt, to learn what true healing looks like." Now, the silence felt different. Excitement began to crackle in the air like static electricity. Could they really embark on this journey together? "Will you stand with me?" he implored, passion rising in his voice. As the crowd murmured and exchanged glances, Gloria fought back tears, feeling the tide shift toward something powerful and profound. But just as a few brave souls began to step forward, the figure interrupted, cutting the moment. "Another lie. You don't think you can just waltz in and become our savior, do you?" The air snapped tight around them, and the hope they had just ignited threatened to flicker out. Farid felt the weight of impending despair sink in. Would they let this moment slip away? Just when they seemed ready to stand as one, doubt lurked like a shadow, threatening to swallow their breakthrough whole. And as the crowd looked uncertainly to one another, Gloria wondered if they truly were strong enough for what lay ahead. Would they embrace the darkness of their pasts and the promise of the future together? Farid took a deep breath, ready to face whatever came next, yet painfully aware that this was just the beginning. What would he reveal when faced with the crumbling walls of doubt? Farid's palms were clammy, the weight of expectation pressing against his chest. The heckler's words hung in the air, a heavy fog of doubt. He searched the crowd, desperate for any hint of support. Gloria's face shone bright, radiating trust, but as Farid's eyes flicked back to the scornful figure, despair threatened to deepen his resolve. "Believe it or not, I'm not here to be a savior," he said, forcing calm into his voice. "I'm here to ground myself in reality, to rebuild what I've broken, starting with me. You don't have to trust me yet. Just let me show you." A few tentative nods emerged from the crowd, but the dismissive scoff still echoed. Encouraged yet trembling, he pushed ahead. "I know what it means to be lost. I've felt as if I were a ghost haunting my own life. Every once in a while, I would peek out from behind my walls just to see if anyone remembered me, or if the world kept turning without me. It did. And I missed the moments that mattered." Eyes softened in the throng. He noticed a man stepping forward, uncertainty clouded by shadows of vulnerability. "You've missed out, but what if it's too late?" he asked quietly. "Too late?" Farid felt the heat rush through him. Isn't that the false narrative we tell ourselves? There's always the chance to change, to try again. There will always be pain to confront, but standing still only lets it fester. Why not take that same pain and channel it into something positive? The crowd shifted, a murmur of agreement reverberated. "I can't promise immediate results. I'm not here to sell you a fairy tale. I'm just a man willing to take little steps. And I want to walk that path with you." His gaze swept across their faces, looking for understanding. Some stared back with curiosity, a flicker of hope, while others clung to skepticism like an old friend. Farid's heart raced. I'm willing to listen to every story of hurt, every experience. I want to learn what healing looks like for each of you. Please, help me understand. In that moment, the previous tension seemed to dissolve, replaced by a tentative bond forming between him and the audience. Farid's breath felt lighter, he could almost taste the possibility of unity. Then, unexpectedly, a woman raised her hand. How do we know you're not just using us? How do we trust that this is different? We've been hurt too many times. Her voice trembled but was firm, a sorrow etched deeply into her features. His heart ached for her. You don't have to trust me yet. Trust is built, not given. I'll earn it through actions, not just words. Let us help each other along the way. Nervous glances turned hopeful, embers of doubt finally flickering. Gloria grinned, tears spilling down her cheeks as hope ignited around them. Suddenly, the figure from the back stood tall again. People don't change, Farid. And neither will you. The crowd's excitement faded at the old taunt, but something sparked within Farid. Maybe you're right. I can't promise that I'm perfect. But I know I need to try. If I fail, I'll meet you in that failure, because it means we've shared something real. Shocked murmurs spread like wildfire as he leaned into the vulnerability spilling from him. If my failures resonate with anyone here, let us face them together, our shame laid bare. Let's figure this out as a community. I rather stand alongside you, in our pain, than stand alone in my pride. Each word resonated, penetrating resistance. The crowd shifted again, some hands crept forward, ready to support the phoenix rising from the ashes, yet, just as hope began to flourish, the figure shouted again, this is a fool's errand. You'll end up right back where you started, and it will all just be wasted breath. Silence enveloped them, the crackling hope snuffed in an instant. Would they let this moment be swallowed by despair? Or would they unite against the sting of doubt? With bated breath, Farid searched for answers. Was he brave enough to accept the truth of shared scars? The world felt heavy once more, but behind it, beneath layers of uncertainty, perhaps there was a flicker of light waiting to be uncovered. Would he be the one to find it? The air was thick, charged with the weight of uncertainty. Farid stood at the center of that sea of faces, each one holding a story that intertwined with his own. The spark of hope that had ignited moments before now wavered, threatened by the harsh winds of doubt. Was this still a chance for connection, or would it dissipate like mist under the sun? He inhaled deeply, grounding himself as he prepared for the next wave of emotion. Listen, I've stood where many of you have, he began, casting aside the sharp edges of self-doubt. I know what it's like to be pushed down, to feel invisible, to think you never belong anywhere. He took a step forward, leaning into the collective pain he sensed in the crowd. But if we stay in the shadows of our fears, we'll never find our way out. The heckler scoffed again, crossing his arms defiantly. You talk big, but words don't change what's real. Show us you can be different. Then let us create something real together. Farid's voice rang out, a fire igniting in his chest. Every single one of you has felt lost at some point. But what if we dare to share those stories? What if we transform our losses into lessons? He paused, searching for connections in their eyes, hoping they could feel the passion pulsing behind his words. Gradually, he noticed a flicker like candlelight. A woman, slightly older, nodded slowly. I've lost so much. My son, her voice broke, and tears glimmered in her eyes. He left years ago. I don't even know if he is alive. The confession hung heavy in the air, wrapping around the crowd and squeezing their hearts. I'm so sorry, Farid said softly, feeling the effort it took for her to share such a precious piece of her pain. That's a pain that can break anyone. But maybe if you let it out, if you accept that pain, it can also be the start of your healing. You've kept it inside for too long. More faces turned towards her, nods echoing around. What if we meet, once a week? Share stories, build something together, Farid continued, his voice now fueled by the shared vulnerability. We could learn from each other. Grieve together. Celebrate life with what remains. There were murmurs, now a mix of curiosity and skepticism, but it was a step, and it was enough for Farid to seize. Trust will not come easy. I get it. But if we genuinely support each other, maybe we'll discover what we're capable of. The sincerity of his voice cut through the tension. Maybe we're not meant to carry this alone. A young man stepped forward, his face lined with uncertainty. And if it doesn't work? If we're just wasting our time? Then we'll fail together, Farid replied, heart racing with earnest determination. But at least we've failed trying to connect, trying to build a community. Isn't that worth something? His words fell into a new atmosphere, one filled with fragile hope. The heckler fell silent, watching intently, perhaps unable to deny the strength brewing in the air. One by one, hands started to rise. Some shaky, others steady, but all unified in purpose. Gloria beamed, her face radiating warmth, a validation of Farid's hope sprouting like early spring flowers. Count me in, said the woman with tears. I need to do this. More hands. More voices chiming in with quiet agreement, yet the heckler lingered, uncertain. You think you can just wave a magic wand and make everything better? Farid met his gaze, the defiance steadying his heart. No magic wand, just shared hearts. If enough people join together, maybe we find a way out of this darkness and help each other heal. As the crowd began to murmur vigorously, a soft chant of agreement began to brew, the fear washing away little by little. Yet as the sense of connection surged, they felt the weight of the world still pressing against their shoulders. Could vulnerability truly bind them together? Or would it tear them apart when the storms of reality returned? Farid took a deep breath, feeling the growing energy, yet still aware of the challenges ahead. This was just the beginning, a mere step into the unknown. What awaited them as they ventured into the darkness of their pasts? Would they find their light, or would they succumb to the shadows lurking just beyond reach? The buzz of anticipation filled the air, weaving its way through the crowd like a gentle breeze. Farid could feel it stirring his own heart, the rhythm of hope beating louder. As hands rose and voices pledged their support, he sensed a shift, a seamless transition from doubt to determination. Yet, amid the energy, he cast a glance toward the heckler. The man still stood there, wariness etched on his face, but something flickered behind his eyes. Perhaps a spark of curiosity. Look, Farid said, calling out to him, I get that you're skeptical. That's fair. We've been through a lot. But that skepticism might just be the first step towards understanding what we're trying to do here. The heckler uncrossed his arms, shifting weight nervously from one foot to the other. And what if it's just a bunch of empty promises? Then we'll promise each other to keep it real, Farid replied, his heart racing with a mixture of excitement and fear. Let us hold each other accountable. This doesn't have to be perfect, it just needs to be real. The young man hesitated but finally nodded just slightly, the wheels of his mind visibly turning. Farid recognized that a small victory lay there, a crack in the hardened wall around the man's heart. As the meeting began to gather momentum, Farid noticed a man in the back, a seasoned face lined with stories. His eyes glimmered with grief and resilience. I lost my daughter, he began, voice gravelly yet steady, to circumstances I wish I could have changed. If I could just hold her hand one more time, I would. He trailed off, the raw emotion spilling forth as he fought against tears. The crowd held its breath, feeling the weight of his confession. Farid stepped closer to the man. You aren't alone. None of us are. A young woman near the front spoke up, her voice shaking. I lost a brother. We never connected before he left this world. I wish I had known how to reach out. The man met her gaze, a flicker of understanding passing between them. Farid encouraged them to share, his heart swelled with pride as vibrant stories started unfolding. They spoke of heartbreak, sorrow, and long-lost dreams. For every sorrow aired, another hand shot up in response, a shared goal emerging in the gathering dusk. As stories intertwined, a web of connection began to span the group, promising warmth and solace no one had anticipated. Laughter erupted softly during more light-hearted memories, and with each word spoken, they slowly chipped away at the weight they had all carried alone for too long. It was beautiful and heartbreaking all at once. As they neared the end of the first meeting, a new question lingered in the air, so thick and weighty that it almost crackled with energy. What happens next? Someone finally asked, eyes wide with hope and trepidation. That's completely up to us, Farid replied, looking around at their eager, expectant faces. Each story can build a bridge, one step at a time. We'll weave our healing together, but it will take patience, honesty, and courage. But even as he spoke those words, a shiver of unease danced down his spine. What if sharing their stories invited new pain? What if the journey to heal each other unearthed secrets best left buried? Just as doubts crept in, the heckler broke the tension. So what's the plan? Farid's heart raced. Let us meet again next week. Bring your stories, your memories, and maybe even an open heart. Together, we can find our way. And just like that, they were committed. But a question thrummed restlessly in Farid's mind as he walked away from the gathering. Would they all return? Would they be strong enough to face the darkness within, or did they risk unearthing more than they were prepared for? As night fell, Farid stared into the distance, shadowy clouds casting uncertainty over him once more. The journey ahead was still cloaked in mystery, the promise of connection both exhilarating and terrifying. Would he really guide them to healing, or was he leading them deeper into chaos? And just as these thoughts swirled, a figure emerged from the dark, a woman with weary eyes. Hovering just at the edge. Farid felt an urge to find out more. There was something she had to share, and he sensed it would change everything. The woman stepped closer, the dim light highlighting the faint lines etched on her face. Her eyes, a mixture of sadness and resolve, bore into Farid's. She hesitated, as if she was uncertain how to voice the weight she carried. Are you the one leading this? She finally asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Farid nodded, swallowing hard, his heart racing. I am. What brings you here? I've struggled for so long, feeling lost and disconnected. I heard the stories, and it felt like a call. She glanced back at the dimming horizon, like she was searching for something just beyond reach. What's your name? He prompted gently, wanting her to feel safe to open up. Layla, she replied, the name rolling off her tongue like an unfinished melody. I've lost so much. My husband 2 years ago. He left behind a life full of dreams we never got to chase. Her eyes shimmered with unshed tears, and Farid felt a tugging in his chest. He stepped a little closer. Do you want to share more about him? Or why you chose to come tonight? A quiet moment hung between them, heavy with shared grief. Finally, Layla took a breath, her words spilling out like a dam breaking. He was a dreamer, full of ideas. His laughter used to fill the rooms we would work in together. But he was sick. I couldn't help him in the ways I thought I could. The admission drew her gaze downward, a flicker of guilt sparking behind her eyes. Farid could sense that she was wrestling with a storm of emotions, the longing for connection, the haunting guilt, and the pain of memories. It's not your fault, he said gently. You loved him, and that matters more than anything. As if one of her walls crumbled, Layla looked up, a mixture of surprise and gratitude washing over her face. Thank you. I've always thought that if I had only done something differently. Sometimes, we hold our grief like it's a shield, protecting us from facing the truth. But it can also keep us from healing, Farid offered, hoping to illuminate a path for her. Just then, the heckler from before stepped forward, his brow furrowed as he watched the exchange. And how do we heal? By just sharing stories? What's the plan, really? Everyone looked between them, the tension crackling like static electricity. Farid took a deep breath, his heart pounding. Sharing our stories is just the beginning. It's how we find understanding, but it won't be enough on its own. We need to create a support system, a real community where we help one another, not just talk. The crowd around them began to murmur, some nodding, others looking skeptical. Layla glanced at the heckler, her expression shifting slightly, as if she was beginning to feel the weight of his emotions too. "Look, I get it," he said, voice firmer now, "but what happens when the stories run dry? When we unearth wounds without proper healing? What then?" Farid felt a mix of hope and dread swirl within him. This was the moment of truth, the crossroads they'd all been waiting for. "I believe in all of us. Yes, we might open wounds, but in doing so, we can also begin to heal them together. It won't be easy, but real growth rarely is." Silence stretched, the weight of his words hanging like a heavy cloud. Layla's eyes locked onto his, something powerful passing between them. Suddenly, she spoke up, her voice stronger now. "Maybe we can create something more than just a support group. A community. We could share resources or even help one another find counseling. We could make real change, start projects in memory of those we lost." The heckler nodded slowly, a hint of respect in his gaze as he considered her suggestion. Farid could feel the spark of inspiration igniting in the air, the energy of the crowd shifting once more. He saw determination on faces that had once been shadowed with sorrow. The night was no longer filled with just grief, it was erupting with potential, the flame of hope flickering back to life, but as the conversation began swirling with new ideas, Farid couldn't shake the nagging thought in the back of his mind. Would they really have the strength to turn their pain into purpose? Would this newfound connection fire inspire them to keep pushing forward? Before he could voice any of his worries, Layla stood, her eyes bright with an energy he hadn't seen before. "Let us meet again, but this time we bring our ideas. Transform pain into purpose. We can shape our future together." Cheers erupted, but in that moment, Farid caught a glimpse of something raw in Layla's eyes, an unresolved fear mixed with hope. And deep inside, he felt it too. As the crowd buzzed with excitement, he noticed the figures around him, the faces of those who had found each other amid their darkness. Yet the question loomed large, were they truly ready? Would this step mark the beginning of a deeper journey, or were they walking toward a chasm they wouldn't be able to escape? And as Layla grabbed his hand, squeezing it tightly, the fog of uncertainty enveloped him once more. Would the light they kindled together guide them home, or lead them to an even darker abyss? The excitement in the air was contagious, vibrant enough to almost drown out the flickering doubts in Farid's mind. As Layla's hand held his, he felt warmth spread through him, a sensation that surged against the cold backdrop of grief they all carried. The crowd around them buzzed, faces lighting up as ideas flowed in an exhilarating torrent. "Let us meet at the community center next week," someone called out, their voice cutting through the animation of voices. "We can set up a schedule, workshops, everything." The energy shifted from fear to a tentative but palpable sense of purpose, like they were teetering on the edge of something bigger. Farid could see the beginnings of hope flicker in faces that had once looked so lost. Yet there was something else stirring in him, a whisper of fear. Was this just a momentary spark, or would it burst into a flame strong enough to last? Layla looked around, her enthusiasm brighter than before. "We can even invite speakers, people who turned their pain into advocacy. We'll have resources and support. This can be our healing space, a refuge where we can come together." There was something powerful about her words. With every sentence, she wove a tapestry of dreams, of possibilities that had nodded in the depths of their suffering. Farid watched as others began to nod, building on her ideas, creating a swirling storm of plans for activities. Yet as the ideas flowed, Farid felt his pulse quicken, an unease rippling through him. "Wait a minute," he interjected, trying to steer the conversation to unexplored territory. "What if it gets overwhelming? When we bring light to our wounds, they might become too heavy to bear." Are we prepared to handle the weight of what we might uncover? The chatter dimmed slightly, a ripple of anxiety passing through the crowd. Layla's expression momentarily faltered, and Farid's heart sank. Perhaps he killed the momentum. No, she said firmly, locking eyes with him again, this time with a fire that stirred something deep within him. If we're careful, if we take it one step at a time, there's strength in vulnerability. We're not alone. We can lean on each other. Some voices murmured agreement, while others appeared hesitant, grappling with the enormity of what was being asked of them. Farid breathed deeply, torn between wanting to protect them from pain and believing in what Layla had said. He looked around, catching glimpses of different stories etched in the lines of their faces, hints of grief quietly glistening in their eyes. Maybe we can find ways to make it manageable. Opening up doesn't mean we have to dive into every hurt all at once, he suggested, hoping his words would offer them reassurance. And we can schedule breaks for self-care, a woman chimed in, her voice carrying a note of compassion. Even small moments of joy amid the darkness. We'll need that balance. Farid felt his heart lighten with every word exchanged. This could be something beautiful, a chance to weave hope back into their lives, piece by piece. As voices began to harmonize into plans, Layla stepped closer to him, her eyes searching his. What do you think, Farid? Will you help lead this? Your voice matters. We need you. The weight of her gaze grounded him. This wasn't just a journey for healing, it was a commitment to be together in their struggles, to carry each other through rough waters. Could he do it? Could he be the voice that inspired others to transform their pain? For a moment, he felt paralyzed with fear but also flicked with uncertainty. He didn't have the answers, but he nodded slowly, a rush of clarity washing over him. Yes, I will. We're in this together. The crowd erupted into applause, their spirits buoyed once again, pulsating with renewed energy. Farid's heart raced, not just with excitement but with understanding the enormity of what they were embarking on. As the night wore on and plans took shape, Farid glanced at Layla, her determination shining bright. Yet behind that fire, he caught a glimmer of something else. Was it fear? Could they truly navigate the shadows? Together, just then, amidst the growing excitement, a figure moved in the shadows at the edge of the gathering, watching silently. Unbeknownst to Farid, the path ahead would be fraught with hidden challenges. Was the commitment they now forged enough to face whatever lay beyond? As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the weary faces gathered in the community center, Gloria felt hope pulsing through her veins. The laughter and shared stories had forged connections, an effervescent promise igniting possibilities. A new chapter was beginning, one that held the potential to heal not just individuals but the whole community. Gloria stood at the very front, a front-row witness to the transformation. She caught Farid's gaze, not just the businessman but a fellow traveler navigating pain and redemption. He stepped forward again, embodying the spirit of their gathered hopes. We won't always get it right, he started, his voice steady and inviting. But that's okay. We're learning together. The crowd nodded, understanding that growth was an imperfect journey. A sharp intake of breath echoed among them. Layla stood again, buoyed by the attention. What if we turn our pain into purpose? Let us commit to projects that not only honor our losses but help others too. Her vision sent ripples of excitement through the air, and the murmurs of agreement bounced back. They could make a difference together. As names were scribbled down for volunteering, Gloria felt something profound shift inside her. They were planting seeds, each project could sprout into healing. It wasn't just about their own stories anymore, it was about understanding, empathy, and action. Farid and Layla sparked the momentum, and now the crowd hungered for more. Gloria raised her hand, feeling the warmth of that collective spirit wrap around her. Let us have a community barbecue. A day to celebrate our stories, bring our families together. Let us weave our restaurant into something more. The ideas flowed with enthusiasm, like music clasping hands in the dance of life. As the plans grew, Gloria watched Farid's shoulders lighten. He was no longer a businessman only concerned with profits, he embodied leadership, a role that involved not just the light but the acceptance of shadow. She could feel the community mending, each small stitch of connection restoring faith in one another, but beneath all the excitement lurked an undertow of vulnerability. People had shared parts of themselves, intimate tales of heartache and regret, but as the laughter echoed through the halls, that lingering question remained. Would they be able to carry each other through the harder days that could emerge as they opened up? Just then, the heckler from before stood up, voice filled with disbelief masked as concern. What about when this all falls apart? When the pain resurfaces, and anger boils over again? His eyes darted between the crowd, searching for a hint of weakness. The humor that had twinkled faded a shade, uncertainty creeping back in. Gloria stepped forward, her heart thumping loudly as she faced his challenge. What if it does? Lasting change won't come from pretending we're whole. It comes from the messiness. It's okay to feel angry, scared. We won't be alone. This is about holding each other's hands through it all. The space softened. They had already begun to shift from isolation to connection, replacing the loneliness that had prevailed. Farid faced the heckler and offered an earnest smile. When those days come, we come together, share it, talk it out. That's the promise we're making. Healing is a journey, not a destination. With the shadows lifting, the crowd responded, their applause filling the space like sunlight breaking through cloud cover. They shared their stories, embracing both joy and sorrow, solidifying the bonds. In that moment, they felt stronger than before, transformed by the unity of their fractured pieces. As they wrapped up the gathering, Gloria's eyes filled with tears of gratitude. She had walked into this journey feeling broken, but now she viewed vulnerability as strength. Hope sprinkled across the community and, finally, she believed they could shine light on the path they would carve together. The atmosphere buzzed with renewed dreams, woven from the intimate fabric of collective stories. They had ignited something beautiful, flames of understanding and camaraderie flickering in the warm twilight of possibility. With hearts engraved in solidarity, they recognized an undeniable truth: they didn't just need change, they craved connection. They yearned for a deeper blessing, the chance to come together amidst pain and to create something resilient. As they embraced, it became clear, together they could rise, failure or success, and know that joy waited on the other side of their trials. And like that, Gloria felt a powerful urge to remind everyone, let us not stop here. We have so much ahead. Share your thoughts and spread this spirit with those who need it most. Our journey has just begun, and the love we've kindled deserves to flourish. Remember to bring others into our circle of healing. This is just the first of many beautiful chapters. The crowd erupted in enthusiastic agreement, rallying together as guardians of this newfound light. Each voice carried a promise: resolutions to inspire, to uplift, and to weave their stories into the vast tapestry of their shared lives. Now was the time to embrace connections, confront challenges, and transform shadows into radiant celebrations. The journey beckoned forward, and they would take it one brave step at a time. Join in this movement. Subscribe immediately to witness the unfolding stories of hope. Hit that like button now. Your support fuels this vision. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need this inspiration. Don't wait not even one more second. Your voice matters in this collective force of change.